Hello, friends, and welcome to Flosstube and Variety Show number 58. Today is October 7th, I think. Is that right? I think that's right. 2022. And I'm glad you're joining me. I'm Emily Williams in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and we are having a beautiful, maybe you might call it an Indian summer day. It's going to be in the low 80s today. We've had that glorious, crisp weather recently, October weather, which I love. It's possibly my favorite kind of weather. Is what happens in October. Recently, today it's warmer. That's fine. It's wonderful. And there's bright sunshine behind me, as you see, coming in the window. You can see that spider web. I'll fix that before our next video. Or, no, that isn't true. I'll ask my husband to fix that before our next video. You might hear noises outside because we're having work done on our gutters. I just can't predict when they're going to be closing down for lunch or closing for the day. And so I decided, you're just going to have to put up with it because that's just how it is. I didn't want to wait until tomorrow to make a video. I have some things going on that would make that challenging. So here we are. Enough blather, Emily, enough blather. Flosstube means cross stitch primarily, things having to do with embroidery floss. And variety show means something else. So we'll find out what that is. Okay, I'm going to just say a sentence and then we'll get to it later. I finished the quilt. And so I'll talk about that more later. But let's do a little cross stitch first. I'll first show you Snippet Tiger Stare by Charting Creations. I am just starting this, so I'm way over here. But I did this time, I didn't do much since the last time I showed it to you, but I plan to do a lot more, but I really was curious to get the black going because DMC 310, which is the black color, has a reputation for not doing good coverage. So I decided to use Anchor black for this. I didn't try the 310. I might try it somewhere else in the design just to see how it looks, but I have the Anchor, and so I think I'm going to use it. Now I only have one spool. Probably going to need to get another for this because there's a lot of black in this, maybe even 2 more spools. But there's the black just starting. I doubt you can see that in the camera. I can't really tell from my vantage point, but that's what it is. So I really wanted to get into the black, even though I haven't finished all of the stitching down here, because there's so much black and it's so fill-in type stitching. So on the one hand, it's easy because you just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in the same color. I mean, with some counting because these are not just rectangles. But also, it's funny that dinged when I think I have it on Do Not Disturb, but maybe I don't. Let me just, I can't check that. Anyway, it's easy to do a lot of fill-in like that, but on the other hand, it's boring. So I thought, let me get to it so that I have it started so that when I want to do fill-in, where I just less mindfully move back and forth on it, I can. But I left some of the confetti stitching for other times. I mean, football games are great actually for confetti stitching because you can do a bunch and then you look up and you watch the play. And then you do a bunch more and then you look up and watch the next play and oh, there's a replay, so let me watch that. Then you do a bunch more. So football is great for any kind of cross stitch really. But if you wanted to watch, say, a basketball game, you might need to do the fill-in stitching because you're only going to have timeouts to do any stitching in a basketball game or you'll miss quite a bit of it. Now, as for accomplishing things, baseball games are the best of all. So keep that in mind. In this October days when they're in the playoffs, baseball is fantastic. I'm sure you can hear that saw, at least I can. Hope it's not too disturbing. The next thing I will show you, oh darn it, I'm gonna have to pause the video in a minute. I forgot to bring something. The next thing I'll show you though is the purple sampler. So here it is, all that I've done so far, down to the bottom of this anchor, and I'll show you a close-up in a minute. From the top to this anchor is about 18 inches. It's going to be at least, I think at least down to here. My goodness. You know what, this is a good time for me to pause the video. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about the camera shaking a bit. I thought while they were using their leaf blower right outside the door here, I'm in the family room and we have a deck right there. That's where they were using their leaf blower. I decided that that was a very good time to pause the video and go and get the other thing that I forgot. So back to the purple sampler. So what I worked on is down here, I finished that border with the leaves and the berries. I really like that. That's one of my favorite ones that I've done. And then I put that other little one in underneath it, and then I started the lowercase alphabet. And I just put an anchor in because I like them for no particular reason. Oh my goodness. Yes, no particular reason on the anchor. And you can see that the lowercase e is in the lighter purple, and I'm going to do my initials that way. So it will be lowercase e and the H and the W, EHW, my initials. So that's how I'm signing this piece. After doing the, finishing the quilt, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what they're doing. I thought the leaf blower was bad. After finishing the quilt, I just got eager to get moving on this sampler. So that you're going to see a lot of progress in that, I think, over the next few weeks. I hope to finish it before Christmas. That would be a goal. I think that's very doable because Christmas is, let's just say, 2.5 months, right? Something like that. The other thing, the thing I went to get, oh, I'll just show you again. I'm getting a lot of ideas, actual things, items from this Ultimate Sampler Motifs source book, including that alphabet. Oh, and the anchor was much longer, but I only needed it to be that size, so I adjusted it. So the thing I went to get was In Full Glory by Blackbird. It's from this book, Sweet Land of Liberty. This is the thing I'm working on. Last weekend was the first weekend of the month, so it was Blackbird Weekend Stitch Along, BBD Weekend Sal, and I finished the border and did the little strawberry-ish things at the bottom, and I got going on the flower pot. And you know, I wanted to finish this. I really did. I thought I could. But I had that quilt. So I didn't. It's possible I will leap into this again before the first weekend in November to finish it. But I might wait. I don't know. I've sort of have mentally reserved the first weekend of the month for Blackbird stitching. So if I finish this, I have to make a decision about what to stitch next. And I don't know if I'm really ready to make that decision. So that's one reason to not race ahead to finish it, because my sense of obligation. I actually do have some ideas and even fabric. So, all right, that's all I have to show you about cross stitch because I focused so much on this quilt. And I have it here behind me. It's a king-size quilt. I cannot hold it up and show it to you in the video, but I will put some pictures up in just a moment. but can't even put it in my lap. No, it isn't a king size. It's a large queen. My goodness, Emily. But I am really, so this is the, this fabric, of course, is the darkest part of the tumbling block. This is upside down, but oh well. This is the lightest blue, this binding. This is what she requested. The border has, I don't know if you can see, but it has quilting in it just going along. Mainly in order to make sure that there was quilting within 4 inches. That's what the batting manufacturer requests. And then the back. And again, I'm going to put some pictures in. Oops, here's a thread. There's a lot of threads. But here's the quilting from the back. Just the way it all crosses, it forms a star with hexagons around it. That's pretty cool. I don't know what to do here. And I used 3 different colors of DMC floss in the bulk of in the main part of the quilt for the quilting that matched 2 of the blues plus the green. And then the quilting around the border on the outside matches as the matching color for that. So Saturday, my husband and I are gonna drive into Raleigh, and I'll drop it off at the fairgrounds. And the fair runs October 13th through 23rd. So that's, I mean, it's not going to win. I'm not entering it in the fair because I think it will win. I enter things in the fair because the fair is an objective, immovable deadline, and it's good to work toward something like that. For me, I like that kind of thing. Not everybody likes that, but I do. And also, last year, I had a log cabin quilt that I entered that, again, I knew it wouldn't win, although it was very nice. In fact, if I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up. But the reason that I put that in the fair is because I wanted a deadline. But it turned out that that was the example of a log cabin pattern that they showed if somebody came by to look at the quilts. So it was on display at the fair. This one might be on display at the fair because it is a tumbling block quilt, a large tumbling block quilt, and there just aren't that many. Tumbling blocks are used somewhat in the baby quilts, but I mean, modern people, contemporary, current quilting is made using tumbling blocks in baby quilts, but few people have the patience to make a full-size bed quilt out of it. But guess what? I did it. So that's the quilt. Again, I've put, by now, hopefully I've put some pictures up. Now, as for the variety show, other than talking about the quilt, I don't have that much to talk about because I just haven't thought about anything, really, for the last 7-ish weeks, 6.5 weeks. I basted that quilt on around the 23rd or 25th of August and have been working on it every day, quilting it every day, multiple hours a day, other than our trip to Nashville since then. And it's finished, and I'm thrilled. As I said last time, you know, I have all these ideas of things I'm going to do with my time that's now available to me. Well, one thing I'm going to do is catch up on my HOA secretary. I'm the secretary of our neighborhood homeowners association. I need to catch up on some of that work and some notes I want to write and things like that. I mean, it's ridiculous to have put some of that off because it isn't as if I spent every waking moment doing the quilt, but I spent some of my thinking moments, some of my mental moments doing it, which, you know, I wanted to, I don't know, I didn't do. So I've set aside some other things. I want to finish that purple sampler this year, so that will rise higher in my projects, the time I spend on projects. I have quilts to make and some that I'm just sort of beginning to dream about that I haven't figured out, but I think I want to have them finished by Christmas. Better get moving. And, you know, household things. But I will say a word about the North Carolina State Fair. Now, if you happen to be in North Carolina, the State Fair is a lot of fun. It's very well done, I think. It's a nice variety of types of activities and animals, and they used to let you in the show barns where the cows and other animals were that were being actually shown. Now they don't. I think they might let you in the show rings for those animals, but you can't just walk through the barns and look at all the cows or the chickens or whatever, which is too bad because that was a very interesting thing to see, you know, 25 varieties of chickens that are going to be shown, or ducks, or to walk by stanchion after stanchion of red cows that are going to be compared to each other in some specific way that will determine which one is the best of these animals. But they do have a petting zoo type thing in one of the areas which has farm animals in it. And they have, of course, the giant pumpkin and the displays of the best sweet potatoes and apples and turnips and that kind of thing. They have that, and they have the vendor displays, you know, the fudge, you can buy fudge, and you can buy honey, and you can have an ice cream cone and a pickle, things like that, that are North Carolina products. And so that's fun. That's always fun. Now, that was the doorbell, and my husband is going to go and talk to the workers. Maybe they're finished. Maybe I should have waited to do the video. So anyway, back to the fair. I'm hoping that my husband and I will go. We like to go in a weekday during the day, although there are school children and, you know, big gaggles of school children there during the day. But that's what we like to do because it's, I think, less crowded. And so we'll probably do that not this coming week, but the following week. So anyway, I have entered, I entered a quilt a few years ago that won a red ribbon in whichever category it was handmade quilts. And I won a red, i.e. second place in that category. It was a quilted wall hanging or something. And I also won a blue ribbon, first place for tatting one year. And last year, as you may recall, if you watched my videos then, I won a second place for a tablet weaving, which I didn't have time to do that. I wanted to do a tablet weaving for this year's fair, but because of the quilt, I decided not to take the time to do that. I had time. I could have done it, but I spent that time on other things like Sudoku and reading and cross stitch. Yes, they do have cross stitch in the fair, but I don't know. I don't think I'm going to enter ever, probably. Okay, I've blathered on long enough today. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed to the end, wow, good for you. Thank you. And And I hope that you found something of interest. I hope you'll have a great week of stitching or making quilts or special fair-worthy pies. That would be a good thing. And come to the North Carolina Fair and look for this quilt if you're in the area. Thanks again for watching. Many blessings to you, friends.